times.
Yeah.
That's actually one of three equations of a line. The second one is y minus y1 equals slope x minus x1. And that is point slope form like that. All right, is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to talk about point slope form. The reason it's called point slope form is you need a point and you need a slope. So I'm going to give you some examples here. We're going to do 3 examples here. First example is, let's say the slope is 2 and the point is 3, 1. Okay, so what I recommend, and kind of like we were doing the other one, is you write the point slope form equation, just like I've done here, and then you substitute in. They're telling you the slope is 2. Okay, so m is 2. That goes in right there. Now the ordered pair, this is not x and y, it's x1 and y1. So it's maybe a little confusing because sometimes we use x1 and y1, sometimes we use x and y. For point slope form, it is x1 and y1. Okay.
Mhm.
So what that means is it's y minus 1 equals 2 x minus 3, like that.
Okay.
Okay. And so what that means is you're just putting those numbers in for x1, y1, and 2, and you're done. You're done right here. And a lot of students are like, what do you mean I'm done? You're completely done right here. All right. So let's look at another example. You might think, well, what more can I need to see? Let's say the slope is -3, and this time the point is 4, -2. Okay, so again, always a good idea to write down this equation of line y minus y1 equals slope x minus x1. And we've got x1 and y1 like that. Slope of -3. So we're going to put these in. So it's this time though, it's y minus a -2. So there's always the subtraction, but sometimes you get this double negative. We'll talk about what to do with that in a moment here. Slope is -3, x minus 4, like that.
Okay.
All right. So this double negative here becomes a positive. So it becomes y plus 2 equals -3, x minus 4. So whenever you see the double negative, you have to then make that a positive,
Mm-hmm.
like that. Okay. Same thing goes if x is negative, or they're both negative. So let's look at one more example here. This time, let's make the slope, 1/2. Let's say the point is -6, -5. Again, y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. So you are expected to know the equations of the lines. You're expected to know how to substitute these values. And so it's y minus -5 equals 1/2 x minus -6, like that.
Mm-hmm.
So the double negative becomes y plus 5 equals 1/2 x plus 6.
Okay.
So 3 examples, you're done here. The only simplifying you have to do is that double negative, um, if that exists. Okay.
Okay.
So let me give you one to try here. Let's say the slope is 3/4 and the point is 3, -2. I'll write the equation here and ask you to give me the point slope form of the line.
Okay, I got y plus 2 equals 3/4 x minus 3.
Very good. Very good here. Okay. So another possibility here, let me give you another slope here. Let's say your slope is like -1/2 and it goes through the point, I don't know, 5,0. Okay. So this one's a little bit different. So it looks like this. It looks like y minus 0 equals -1/2 x minus 5. Okay. Now, whenever you have subtraction by 0, it becomes just y. Like you don't leave subtraction by 0 in there. So even though it's not quite the same as before, you do omit the 0. Only when
Okay.
it's a non-zero number do you leave it in. Same thing, let's say the slope is 5/4 and the point is -3, 0. Sorry, 0, -3. Didn't want to do the same one again. So that's y minus a -3 equals 5/4 x minus 0. And so that's y plus 3 equals 5/4. So if there's a subtraction by 0 again, you eliminate it.
Okay.
Any questions on that before we move to a more difficult thing?
No.
Okay, so the more difficult thing is always, we just did a forwards problem, and
Mhm.
now we're going to do a backwards problem. So the
Okay.
backwards problem is I give you the equation, and you have to give me the slope and the point. So I'll write the standard form here underneath, or the, I'm sorry, the point slope form underneath. Y minus y. Wow, it's supposed to be a different color. Y minus y1 equals slope x minus x1, like that. All right, so what is the slope?
-2.
-2. And then the harder one here is the point. Notice that there is a subtraction here. There is a subtraction here. So what a lot of students do is they remember that is opposite whatever here. Like if you see this is -3, the point, or the y value is 3. If you see this is -5, the x value is 5, 5 comma 3,
Okay.
like that. Okay, so where you run into issues here is like, let's say I give you something like y plus 1 equals -4x minus 3. Give me the slope and the point if you can, please.
Okay, I got m equals -4 and the point equals -1 comma 3.
So that's a common thing to do there is to flip the x and the y because you read the y first. So it's actually 3 -1. Good. Good though. Okay. Do another one here. Let's go y minus 6 equals 2 x plus 4, like that. Give me the slope and give me the point, please.
Okay, I got m equals 2 and the point equals -4 comma 6. I can't hear you.
How long have I been muted?
Oh, just like since you copy and pasted the,
Okay. Sorry. So what I was trying to show you here is the point slope form and the slope intercept form. You get this by distributing
okay,
the slope and then adding whatever this is to the other side of the equation. And the graphs of these are exactly the same. Like if you were to graph this top line, if you graph this line here, they're exactly the same.
all right.
All right, so we're gonna do a few more. Like let's say it's y plus 2 equals -3 x minus 1 like that. So the first thing here to do is to distribute that -3 to both. That's -3x plus 3 y plus 2. And then you're going to subtract this 2 from both sides. So you end up getting y equals -3x plus 1 like that.
All right.
Okay. Now, the next thing here is I'll have you try one. So let me throw it up in front of you. Let's say it's y minus 1 equals -5x plus 1. Go ahead and I want this in the slope intercept form, y equals mx plus b form, which means you're going to distribute the slope and then move this number to the other side of the equation.
Okay. Could you scroll up a little?
Sure.
Thank you. So I got y equals -5x plus -4, but would the plus -4 just become -4? Or
You can write, so there's a couple ways to write it. So you have this y minus 1, and then when you add 1, you can write as -5x minus 4 or -5x plus -4 like that.
okay.
Like either one is fine.
All right.
Okay. All right. So here's kind of your classic, test, quiz test problem that you might see. it would say something like this, right? The equation of the line with slope, and we'll do 1/2 through -4, 2. All right. And then part A will be in point slope form. Okay. So I'm going to help here because, this is the first one, but this is kind of your quiz question. So they're expecting you to know that this is point slope form like that.
Okay.
Right. So, can you do that for me? Can you write this in point slope form with the slope through this point, please?
Hey, I got y minus 2 equals 1/2 x plus 4.
Okay, very good. All right. So now the next part of this, part B, would be to put this equation in slope-intercept form.
So would that be like what I just did before this question?
Yes, slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. All right.
Okay. Y equals 1/2 x plus 4.
That is correct. Very good. Okay. So there's kind of this flow chart that we could draw based on like what you're given or the information you're given. And but the general thing here is that you always go from point slope form to slope intercept form. And so like again, the idea is like there's certain progressions that are easier than others. And you can go backwards, it's really difficult. Just, typically, so let's see here. The other form here that we're looking at is what's called standard form, which we'll get to in a little later today. We should have time for that. But you cannot go from standard form back to point slope form, but you can go back to slope intercept forms. There's kind of this like, once you get out of point slope form, it's hard to get back to it. But we'll get to this later today here. So the other thing we've been talking about kind of in our toolbox here is the slope formula, y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. And the slope formula is really important because often you'll be given 2 points. And we've talked about that at length. So we're going to do kind of the same problem here that we did before. But let me just find a few of these that work out nicely so that the answers aren't really crazy. Okay, so here we go. Write the equation of the line through -2, 2 and -5, -4. And then part A will be in point slope form. Okay, so that's the one where it's y minus y1 equals slope x minus x1. And notice you don't have the slope this time. In the previous problem, I gave you the slope, which is why I wrote down the slope formula. So you can use the slope formula to find slope, and then you use one point or the other to find the equation here. It doesn't matter which one, you get to choose.
So I could use the one above or the one written in blue.
No. You have to, this up here gives you the slope. You have to do this.
Okay.
Once you get the slope, you can either use the first point or the second point for your x1, y1.
Okay. Okay, I got, sorry, let me find it. Okay, y equals 2x plus 6.
What did you get for your slope? I'm sorry.
Oh, I got 2.
Okay, that's good. The slope is definitely 2. And then which point did you use? The first one or the second one?
Here's the second.
Okay, so you said you got y plus 4 equals 2, x plus 5, like that?
Yes.
Okay, so for part B, what I want you to do is put this into slope intercept form, which, as we've talked about, means you're solving for y. It's y equals mx plus b.
Oh, I already did that.
Okay, what do you have for that answer?
Got y equals 2x plus 6.
Good, very good. Okay, now let's just say I wanted to use this other point. So I'm going to do that in red here so that, oh, I hate when that does that. I'm going to do this in red so you can see the difference. But it'd be y minus 2 equals 2x plus 2. So a lot of 2's going on there. And then if I solve that for y, I get y minus 2 equals 2x plus 4. Add 2 to both sides, and wouldn't you know it, I get the exact same answer, which is expected. So the point is, literally, it doesn't matter which point you use, you get to choose which one that you think will work.
Okay.
Any questions, thoughts on that?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Alrighty. I guess the next thing here is I guess we can talk about standard form. So standard form, I have to do a couple of examples here. Standard form is AX plus BY equals C. AX plus BY equals C. And there's a couple of rules here for this. So the first thing you might notice here is that the X and Y are on the left. Okay. Which is different than the other ones that we've talked about. The second thing is that A, B, and C are integers.
Mm-hmm.
Give me just a moment here. So the next thing here is that A is positive. A is positive. All right, and that's important here. So let's look at a few examples here, and we'll go through this. We'll go through this a couple of examples of this together. So typically you'll start out with something like this: y equals like 5x minus 5x plus 4. Okay, and the first thing here is that x and y are on the left. Basically, they're on the same side, and the constant's on the right. So we have to move the x term left. So you would add 5x to the left like this: y equals y plus 5x equals 4. Now, you also want the order to matter. So it's really got to be 5x plus y equal 4. Typically, the x comes before the y. You can put the 1 in front of the y and go this direction here. So the next thing here is like, are all the other conditions satisfied? So the second condition is that A, B, and C are integers. So the number in front of x, the number in front of y, and the number to the right, they're all integers. So 5, 1, and 4, they're all integers. Okay. Check. Is the first one positive?
Yeah.
It is. So we've got it here. Okay. And again, this is just this. I always start with an example. It's basically like it's not even a good example because like it kind of all works out. Now we'll look at some examples where things don't work out. Okay, so let's say it's like y equals 3x minus 2. Okay, so this time when you move the x to the left, I'll put it in front, minus 3x plus 1y equals -2. Okay. You then want to get this in a form where a, b, and c are integers, and we have that. But the problem is that a has to be positive. So like it might seem silly and like I don't make the rules, but this one has to be positive. So how do you do that? Well, you multiply everything by -1. 3x minus 1y equals 2. And there is your final answer like that.
Okay.
All right, so let's look at another example here. Let's say it's y equals negative 1/2 x plus 3. Okay. So this time, again, you move this term to the left. So you have, okay, it's plus 1/2 x plus 1/2 x. So you have 1/2 x plus 1y equals 3. And then you want to clear the fraction. Clear the fraction. So you multiply everything by 2. Now, why 2? Because that's the denominator. You always multiply by the denominator. It could be something else, but we'll just keep these examples kind of basic. So when you multiply this in, you multiply to both terms. So it ends up being 2 times 1/2 is 1x plus 2y equals 6. And then you have x and y on the left. A, B, and C are all integers. And then A is positive. So we've got it.
Okay.
All right. So that's, and then there's one more example here. Final example here is like y equals like 5/4 x minus 1. So the next, so just like before, you got to move you're always moving the x term left. You're always moving it left. And in this case, okay, we're going to subtract 5/4 x. All right. So it's minus 5/4x plus 1y equals -1. So we've got two problems here. The issue is we've got a fraction, which is bad. And the second is a negative leading. See how this one's negative in front? So you can
Mhm.
either deal with them like one at a time, or you can deal with them both together. What I mean by that is if you multiply everything by 4, that deals with the fraction. Would you agree with that?
Mhm.
And if you put a negative there, that deals with the negative leading because the negative times the negative makes a positive. So this ends up being 5x minus 4y equals +4.
Okay.
All right, so those are all the possible examples that you could see. So I'm going to give you a few to try now and have you work on them. But any questions though before I do that?
I don't think so.
Okay. Let's say it's y equals 3x minus 2. Okay, so I want you to put into standard form. Ax plus by equals c.
3x plus 1y equals 2.
There's a sign error in there's a sign error in something you said. Here's what you said, and you can tell me if this is what you meant. Or what you said why. I mean, I put a 1y there, but is this what you meant?
That is what I wrote.
Okay, so there is a sign error somewhere in there. So I would prefer not to just tell you. I'd like you to maybe look it over one more time.
Oh, would it be minus instead of plus?
It should be a minus. Yeah, it's very good. Okay. All right. Very good on that one. So let's say it's something like this. Let's go y equals 2/3 x plus 4. Right. So again, put in standard form ax plus by equals c.
So I was having a little trouble on what I was supposed to do with the 4. Like, so I multiplied -2/3 by -3, but I wasn't sure if I
Okay.
was supposed to also multiply 4 by that.
Yeah, you multiply everything by, like you said, -3. So everything in the equation, all three terms. Yeah, the two on the left and the one on the right. So hopefully that answers your question. Do you want to see if you can give me your final answer on this front?
So I wrote 2x minus 3y equals -12.
Very good. Very good. Okay. So the last kind of question here, just to, I mean, we're not going super in depth here, but because there's a lot more that could be done here, but your kind of your classic test quiz problem is to write the equation of the line, and then it'll give you the points like this. And then part A is the point slope form. All right. Part B is the slope intercept form. Part C is the standard form.
Okay.
All right. So for now, all I want you to do is calculate the slope. Depending on how long that takes, we'll see what else we can get to. But typically, you have to be able to do all three forms of a line. So if you can just calculate the slope for now. All right, so we are basically running out of time here. So slope is 5 minus 3 over 4 minus 5, which is 2 over -1 or -2. So we'll leave off kind of on this question, and next time we might talk about parallel and perpendicular lines. We might even talk about lines with no solution or infinite solutions, just depending on what you have or don't have. Based on what you have or don't have for me on Wednesday. So let's go ahead and stop here.